Whew. Did you know that in the 1920s, there was about 920,000 black farmers in America, and in 2022, there were only 45,000? That's a huge, huge gap. What happened to black farmers? Today, we're gonna talk about why black men need to become farmers again and how to take our power back. All right, let's go. Alright, let's talk about why it's important for black men to become farmers again. The main reason why it's important for men to become farmers, especially black men, is because the men of any community, group, kingdom, culture, whatever, the men are typically the providers and the protectors of that community, of that family, whatever structure that the man is in. Men are usually looked to provide and protect. And providing doesn't just mean having a job and bringing home the money. Because I know we live in a first world society to where all we have to do is make money, go to the grocery store, go to whatever store, buy whatever we need. But you gotta think in terms of a situation to where there's a catastrophe that could have happened, where, you know, there's a global pandemic, where there's a global shutdown. Anytime a situation gets serious, the men are looked to provide. And men have to know how to be self-sufficient in order to provide effectively for their families in the event of an emergency situation. So that's why it's important for black men to become farmers again, because we have to be the providers. We have to be the protectors. We have to lead. So in order to lead, we must know how to lead, and we must know how to survive. And in order to survive, we must become self-sufficient, and we must become farmers again. Alright, now let's talk about the causes of this decline in black farmers. Why it went from almost 1 million to under 100,000, to under 50,000 rather. Let's talk about that. So there is a well-documented history of systemic racism in the USDA. Also, back in the days when you had things like land grabbing, where a white man could come onto your property and claim land as his, and you couldn't say nothing about it, because your word as a black man against a white man in those times was just, it wasn't credible at all. So oftentimes people's land were stolen, and also people were systemically forced out of farming through the USDA, denying loans and not working with black farmers. We even see that all the way up into the 2020s, where there's documentaries of men who were sugarcane farmers, and they were being denied loans, or the USDA was waiting late into the season to approve their loans, which, you know, caused them to have to try to play catch up and all those type of things. So those are the causes of why you see a lot of black farmers who are no longer black farmers, is because of a lot of things that were systemic. And also, let's talk about the Industrial Revolution, where a lot of black folks moved from the South up to a lot of industrial towns in the Midwest and up north, to where they left the South and they left the farmland, and they went up into the industrial areas and got factory jobs. So those are reasons why you see a decline in black farmers. Alright, so just like you have causes, you have effects. So the effects of the decline in black farmers is the loss of power of black people economically. We lost a lot of leverage when we lost the ability on a large scale to be able to provide for ourselves. So as you know, more black people became more educated, gained more wealth, we lost a lot of everyday skills. As we moved from the South, and the land that we tilled and we built, we became disconnected from the land, and as a result, we had to become dependent on other nations of people, or other ethnicities rather, to provide us with our basic needs. So instead of us growing our own garden, like a lot of our great-grandparents and our grandparents had, they had their own garden and things like that. They kept a chicken coop and things like that. Instead of that, we became dependent on grocery store store chains and grocery stores in the community that were owned by people who weren't black. So we became dependent on them for our everyday needs, and we lost the skills and the tools to be able to provide for ourselves. So in essence, what we lost is our power. We lost our leverage in the American system, in the American economic system, because we can't even provide our basic needs, and we have to go to every other community. So what does that do? That allows the black dollar to circulate in other communities more than it circulates into the black community. So the first thing we do, because we need food to survive, the first thing we do is we go and spend that money with somebody who is not black. So therefore black dollars are leaving our communities faster than we're getting the dollars in. So when we are able to provide our foundational needs, which is food and water, when we're able to provide that, then that's more black dollars staying in the black community, and that's giving black people more economic leverage and more economic power in the grand scheme of things, which in essence puts us at a higher level. So those are the effects of losing a lot of farmland and losing a lot of black farmers. All right, so we know the causes, we know the why, we know the effects. Let's talk about the solution, right? Because the solution is what's gonna get us out of this hole that we've dug ourselves into, right? So the solution is us as black people, mainly black men, because we're supposed to be the leaders of the black community. We are the ones who are responsible to go back and rebuild our foundation. That's the first step in this solution. We have to go back and rebuild our foundation, which means we have to go back and educate ourselves on agriculture, which is the first step. You must learn how to become self-sufficient and then implement it. So we have to go back and we have to rebuild our foundation. The second thing is we have to buy land, whether it's an acre, 5 acres, 10 acres, 100 acres, 200, 1,000 acres. We have to start buying land. Once we start buying land, we're able to implement the third step, which is to implement our knowledge on that land and start back farming again. So we must learn, we must buy land, and we must implement what we learn on that land and get our power back, get our economic control back and our economic leverage. So that's the solution, right? Baby steps. Those are the solutions. We must get back to the land. We must rebuild our foundation. We must learn, we must know, we must buy, and we must apply. All right, so the results, right? The results of implementing that solution of learning agriculture, buying land, and implementing what we learned, the results is that we're going to be able to live the life that our ancestors lived, right? The result is that we're going to be able to take back our power, that we're going to be able to economically have leverage, right? And also that we're going to have a healthier outcome, because obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease are all factors in the black community as far as why a lot of black people are dying prematurely. So we're going to be able to be more healthier because we know where the food is coming from. But also when we get back to being farmers and we get back to being out in nature and being out in the sun and working, then we're going to be able to be a lot healthier because we're benefiting from being out in the elements, being out in the sun, the healing properties of the sun, the healing properties of nature, like our ancestors who lived up until 100, 110 years old, who lived well into their 90s because they were out in the sun first and foremost. I'm not sure why black people like to run from the sun, but we actually need the sun. Genetically, we benefit from the sun, right? But also being in nature. You see what I'm saying? Eating from the land, having that connection with your food, knowing where it comes from. These are all of the benefits that we're gonna get from black men and women becoming farmers again, getting back to the land or getting black to the land. You see what I'm saying? So there's a tremendous amount of benefits that we're gonna get from getting back to the land, whether it's internally, whether it's as a community, whether it's spiritually. There's so many benefits to getting back to the land. Now, I appreciate y'all, man. That's the end of the video, man. I appreciate y'all if y'all made it this far into the video. One thing I just want to say, man, is that if you like this content, hit that like and subscribe button, man. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I drop a video. And we're, over here at Set Apart Gardens, man, we're just about getting back to the land, getting black people back to the land, man, becoming self-sufficient. So if you would, man, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe and follow all of our platforms, whether it's Instagram, Join my Facebook group. I'll leave all the links in the description below. Also, man, if you want to support this channel, man, Cash App is going to be in the description. Also, check out our website. We got merch on there. We got t-shirts, we got hats, and all that good stuff, man. And like I always like to say, if you give somebody the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. Peace and blessings.
Bombs over Baghdad really ain't that bad. Little wiretap, yes, yes. Little dodge in the IRS. Little haven from the taxman.